There are monuments built to be admired. There are monuments built to be feared. And then, there are monuments built to be used. This one did not celebrate a king. It did not intimidate enemies. It did not even ask to be remembered. It existed for a single purpose: to guide, to warn, and to preserve something far more fragile than stone: knowledge. But here is the question. If power in the ancient world was measured by size and spectacle, why would a civilization invest its greatest effort in something so quiet, so practical, and so easily overlooked? In the early 3rd century BCE, the Mediterranean world was changing. Alexander the Great was dead, and his empire had fractured into rival kingdoms. One of those kingdoms was Egypt, ruled by Ptolemaic, a former general of Alexander who understood something many rulers did not. The next age would not be ruled by swords alone, but by trade, navigation, and information. To secure Egypt's future, he transformed the city of Alexandria into the intellectual and commercial center of the ancient world. Ships arrived carrying grain from the Nile, manuscripts from Greece, mathematical knowledge from Babylon, and astronomical observations from across the known world. Alexandria was not merely a port. It was an interface between civilizations. But this interface had a flaw. The coastline was dangerous. Shallow waters, hidden reefs, unpredictable currents. And this raises a simple but devastating question. What happens to human knowledge when the ships carrying it never reach the shore? Around 280 BCE, construction began on an unprecedented structure at the edge of Alexandria's harbor. Ancient sources credit its design to Sostratus of Cnidus, an engineer working under royal patronage, while its completion is attributed to the reign of Ptolemy to Philadelphus. This was not a monument built for vanity. It was state infrastructure. When travelers approached Egypt's coast, they did not see a palace or a statue of a god. They saw light. A towering beam cutting through fog, darkness, and distance, visible from miles away, signaling safety and arrival. This was the Lighthouse of Alexandria, also known as the Pharos. Ancient writers described it as one of the tallest structures of the ancient world. But height was never the point. The real question is this: why would a civilization obsessed with monuments choose function over glory? The lighthouse stood on the island of Pharos, precisely aligned with the harbor entrance. Its design followed a practical, tiered structure: a massive square base for stability, an octagonal midsection to reduce wind stress, and a cylindrical crown housing the beacon. At its summit burned a continuously maintained fire, likely intensified by polished bronze mirrors that reflected light far across the sea. Fuel had to be transported daily. Crews had to maintain the fire, clean the mirrors, and calculate visibility under changing conditions. This was not architecture frozen in time. It was architecture in operation. A system designed to perform every night without ceremony. And that leads to another question. How many ancient structures were designed not to impress, but to work? Just inland from the harbor stood another institution created under the same vision: the Library of Alexandria. Scrolls were collected, copied, translated, and preserved. Ships entering the harbor were reportedly required to surrender books for duplication. Originals were kept. Copies were returned. Whether every detail of this practice is literal or exaggerated, the intention is unmistakable. Alexandria sought to centralize human knowledge. Now consider the system as a whole. The lighthouse ensured ships arrived safely. The library ensured their knowledge did not disappear. One guided bodies across water. The other guided minds across generations. This was not coincidence. It was coordination. And this invites a deeper question. Was the lighthouse built for sailors, or for civilization itself? Unlike other wonders of the ancient world, the lighthouse did not demand reverence. Its success was invisible. You only noticed it when it failed. Every night it burned, sailors lived, trade flowed, and ideas crossed cultures. The lighthouse did not ask people to look up. It asked them to arrive. And because of that, it shaped the ancient world more quietly, and more effectively, than many empires ever did. But here is something we rarely ask. If the lighthouse was so essential, why do we remember the statues and forget the systems? Over the centuries, earthquakes damaged the structure. Repairs slowed as political priorities shifted. By the medieval period, the light no longer burned. Eventually, the tower collapsed, its stones reused or lost to the sea. Divers would later discover massive blocks resting on the ocean floor. As the lighthouse faded, Alexandria's dominance faded with it. The library declined. Knowledge fragmented. Not all at once. Not dramatically, but steadily. When guidance disappears, civilization does not collapse. It drifts. And this raises an uncomfortable question. How much knowledge has humanity lost, not through destruction, but through neglect? The Lighthouse of Alexandria was not built to be remembered. It was built to ensure continuity. It reminds us that the most important structures in any civilization are rarely the most glamorous. They are the ones that connect systems, reduce loss, and protect the transfer of knowledge. This wonder did not glorify the past. It safeguarded the future. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not how it was built, but why modern civilizations so rarely invest in guidance with the same quiet purpose. Light does not command attention. It earns trust. And long after monuments fall, it is guidance that civilization misses the most.